All right, let's take a look at the hole changes in the latest update. If you want to see these for yourself, you can go to globaldiscgolf.club. That's where I'm at, and there's a nice summary of all the changes. Let's go really quickly through each one. There's 27 of them, so this is going to be a lot longer than usual. Anyway, starting out Ikigai Springs, hole 5, they made the Mando a little bit larger, which I think was fair. I mean, it was 300 feet away, and it was kind of a tight shot. All these got easier, by the way. Some a little easier, some a lot easier. And so I'm trying not gonna say that on every hole, but this one I think was a fair change. Uh, Ikigai Springs hole 6, the island basically got a little bit larger, giving you some more room in the front, which is good news for us guys that have warships in the bag, because in a headwind, the warship would come just short of making the island. And I'm pretty sure now the warship will make that island, which is good news for those that bag that disc. Uh, Ikigai Springs hole 7. There's a lot less elevation in the basket. There's also, doesn't show here, but one of the users on my Facebook page, Andy, pointed out that there were, I think, 4 trees that were removed on the second fairway as you go up the hill. So your second shot now is a little bit easier. You can get it over to the right a little more without hitting a tree. Pioneer Bay hole 2. Yeah, it's a little bit closer to the tee, which made it definitely easier. And gosh, I'm probably going to say that word anyway. The big change here is this is slightly more friendly around the basket. It's a ton more friendly. Where it used to be sitting on this very narrow peak of a ridge, there's a big flat surface now, rocks, and that'll stop your disc. So hugely more friendly. Pioneer Bay hole 3. Yeah, same thing. The area around the basket here did get a little more friendly. The big thing here is with the tee closer to the basket, the island, the center island rather, if you've got a 3 tailwind out of the left, you can more easily drive that. You used to be able to before, but now you can definitely drive that center island with the light glide drive if you have it. Pioneer Bay hole 7. Yeah, this is a completely different hole. I think these rocks on the left might be the old remnants of the old hole. I'm not sure. But this is a par 4 now, and in my opinion, a very easy birdie. Whereas before, this was never a gimme birdie. Now I think it is a gimme, a boring birdie as I call them. And I haven't played around with it enough. There may be an eagle opportunity. I just don't know. But I know for certainly it's an easy birdie. Pioneer Bay hole 8. Yeah, this is a big jump. 60 feet closer to the basket now. I think we're going to perhaps see some more eagles on this hole now, which used to be very, very rare. And this actually might be fair because the game really isn't friendly in terms of disc access to newer players. So if you're a newer player and you don't have the big bomber rives, then this hole is now a lot more accessible to you. So I think it's probably a fair change for the newer players, and that might be what they're trying to accommodate is a bunch of influx of new players. So yeah, Pioneer Bay hole 9. This was a big change, but the birdie at least got a lot easier. I mean, the old hole 9, I never took birdie for granted. I got a lot of them. It was a pretty high birdie rate, but I never took it for granted. So this one, you can still throw like a grace off the tee and then throw like a glide roll up to the top of the temple, or you can take a turn glide and get right almost to the base of the steps there if you get a good shot, and then throw it with a fuse. I've gotten a couple eagles here already, so I don't know. Interesting. There's still trouble on this hole. There's still lots of stuff, though. They did clear it up a little bit. They did some course maintenance down there, but there's still a lot of stuff you can get hung up on. There's still some OB on the wall there to the left, so still a challenging hole. Lost Island hole 4. I really didn't see any change. I mean, yeah, okay. There's a couple more little things around the basket, but uh, early impression is that one really didn't change much. Lost Island hole 7, the drop zone move. That's a good move. I applaud that. The old drop zone was just ridiculous, extremely punishing. So I applaud that. Downtown hole 4, we moved up closer, so I expect to see more eagles here in the future. Downtown hole 7, this was a big change. This used to be, for me anyway, lay it with the musket, a fuse throw in, and I think a lot of people like myself, the more experienced players, got pretty good at that, had a high birdie rate, and so I think this has been kind of leveled out now, but there's still some interest here because I think this is going to entice people to run the island. It's still a small island, but I do think that the birdie rate's going to go up on this one significantly now. Maybe even the ace. You might see more ace runs, although that's still very risky, I think. But yeah, big change there. Downtown, hole 9. Yeah, the sidewalks in the basket now are like 6 inches high off the ground, so you don't have to worry about if you throw a roller disc like a glide roll and it stands up and rolls where it used to roll OB. It's not going to do that anymore. So that's probably a nice change. This was and still is a challenging hole. So I like this change. I'm fine with that. Frozen Valley hole 2. Yeah, we got a little closer to the basket. I think the big news here is there's a lot more ice, as shown here, between the tee and that first island. So whereas the play used to be lay up to the left for a lot of people, I think now the play will become go for the island, which is I think might result in more eagles. I'm going to guess it will. Whereas eagle used to be super rare on that hole. Frozen Valley hole 4, new drop zone. This one didn't have a drop zone before. I applaud this. This hole was punishing, as you may know. If you got on the ice and just the disc just dribbled into the water, it puts you way back on the land. So this is a great change. I applaud that. Frozen Valley hole 9. Yeah, wow. What used to be a super rare eagle is now probably going to become a not so rare. Maybe once we get our lines dialed in here, it might even be a fairly common eagle. You know, a lot of times the old shot, you would miss the Mando to the left with your drive, and it would drop right in front of the basket, but then you had to go back to the drop zone because you missed the Mando, of course. And now that same line is going to clear the Mando. So yeah, I don't know. A lot more eagles on FV9 in the future, I think. Kehoe Backwoods hole 3. I guess they didn't like people going to the left. They must have saw that as like a little cheat thing. So they closed up the left line. opened up the gap down the fairway straight off the tee. I mean, that's where I was going anyway myself. I go sapphire right up the middle, so it just made that shot easier. Uh, Coyote Canyon hole 2. So they lowered that cliff on the far end. I think they did that to be more accommodating to the newer players that don't have the Light Glide Rive uh, or even the Light Glide Blister Pro, which struggles still. But if you didn't have any of those discs, you really couldn't jump over the wall. Well, now this was with the Light Glide Blister Pro anyway. That place where they lowered that cliff on the end, that's where a lot of people, including myself, used to initially jump over the wall. So I think they did that to accommodate the newer players also. They did open up the mouth of the cave a little bit, so the eagle runs maybe a little more easier, but not much. They kept the guardian bush right in front, so I don't know. I think eagle's probably still going to be kind of a rare one there. Uh, Coyote Canyon hole 9, yeah, this is significant. Uh, I think at least if you've got the Light Glide Rive anyway, uh, you're probably never going to end up this side of that first rock pillar. Yeah, I think you're probably always going to have an open shot on your second shot now. I mean, I guess you can conceivably still hit it, but it's a heck of a lot easier now to make sure you get past that first pillar and have an open look at the basket. Kehoe Park, hole 4. Wow. Yeah, this one. Uh, yeah, I don't know. It's much closer now. Uh, Birdies are way easier. So, and with the protective wall, you can do a roller now a little easier on the first shot if you want, and challenging winds. So, yeah, I'd say that one got significantly easier, as did KP8 here. This one got way easier. Not only now does the back of the green have a slope, so you're not still as likely to slip into the water, although you still can. I was playing around with it, and you can definitely go up the slope and get wet. Um, but the big thing here is now, I mean, with a favorable wind, you can reach this with a fuse line, which I used to enjoy this hole. Again, it was kind of a layout with a fuse throw-in contest. Uh, Now I think it's going to be, honestly, probably birdie for days. The drop zone did move a little closer, but it's like 189 feet away. So that's not a gimme even for an elite player. So the drop zone move, I I don't know. I'm not quite sure I understand. I think it was like 230 and it moved to basically 190. So uh, yeah, I don't get the drop zone move. But the Mando, opening up both angle wise and closer to you, that's huge. This hole is now completely different. Alwood, hole 7. Oh man, I am glad they fixed this. I mean, I had a line here, but this is much more generous now. From what I can tell, if you had the Light Glide Rive or the Light Glide Blister Pro, probably the old Simon line, just going straight and high up over the trees, that's, I think, back open for business. And that was the preferred line back in the day. Uh, just jump over all the stuff. And I've done it a couple times and it worked. So I think uh, the change there was good. I mean, this had become a tough hole. Uh, Alwood hole 8. Uh, Still not sure, but I tried a roller on this a couple times, and the rollers, I don't know, it's just maybe not as effective as it once was. this might become like a glide, skip, forehand throw now. Haven't got enough experience on that to talk about that too much. Alwood hole 9. Oh my God, I'm glad they fixed this. Uh, so yeah, basically there's a big gap on the left now. You can take a sapphire if you have it and go forehand, drop it on the green. So this went from probably the hardest, it was actually, I think it had become the hardest hole in the game, uh, to perhaps one of the easier ones. So, all right, Lakeside hole 8. The change here, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I guess you only move to the drop zone after the drive. So I the only time I think this could maybe help you is if you were playing with those gimmicky bags. I know there was some live events where we did skip disc on Lakeside, and this hole would just get redonkulous. You would skip off the island, skip off the island, skip off the island, and now that anyway, instead of skipping off the island and getting put back to the drop zone to repeat, now you can just drop it in the basket. So yeah, I'm not sure other than that what the benefit of that was. Lakeside hole 9. Yeah, I think the big change here is that backstop log, and that is pretty big. I've only played it a few times, but you can take a musket and just throw it right to that log, and you're like 489 feet to the basket, which is perfect distance for the glide roll arrive. So yeah, no more danger of sliding off the first island, I don't think. I mean, there's still a danger there, I guess, but significantly reduced danger, I guess. So yeah, I think the Eagle numbers on Lakeside hole 9 just went up significantly also. All right, well, sorry for the long video, but that's a quick rundown of all the hole changes. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you around the valley.